You're flipping through a book where a scrappy Seattle kid with a squeaky voice and a knack for pissing off his parents turns into the guy who basically invented the tech world as we know it. That's source code. My Beginnings, Bill Gates' latest drop. Hitting shelves on February 4th, 2025 from Knopf. It's not your typical billionaire flex. 336 pages of raw, nostalgic, geeked out goodness about his childhood, his rebel years, and the spark that lit up Microsoft. X was popping off with fans snagging pre-orders, raving about the audiobook narrated by Ray Porter, and debating whether it's a must-read or a snooze fest. Bill Gates, yeah, that Bill Gates, the nerd who co-founded Microsoft, became a gazillionaire, and now fights malaria, finally cracks open his life story, and it's a trip. We're talking young Bill sneaking out to code at 2 a.m., losing his best friend in a gut-punch tragedy, and dropping out of Harvard to chase a dream that sounded nuts back then. It's $30 hardcover, $15.99 Kindle, $22.50 audio, and it's the first of a planned trilogy, think Lord of the Rings, but with floppy disks instead of hobbits. Fans are split. Some call it a heartfelt geek memoir. Others say it's too tame, dodging the juicy Microsoft drama. So, does it compute? Or is it a 404 error? We're diving deep. Story, Bill's quirks, his big brain, the wins, the flops, and all the wild tangents that make it a ride. Let's flip the switch and get into it. Okay, fam, let's set the scene. Think 1960s Seattle, shag carpets, and a kid named Trey who's more into puzzles than kickball. Source code. My Beginnings is Bill Gates spilling his guts about the first 24 years of his life, born October 28th, 1955. To the late 70s when Microsoft's just a scrappy startup with a dozen employees signing its first deal with Apple. It's not about the billionaire Bill we know today, no Gates Foundation, no divorce drama, no Epstein whispers. This is young Bill, awkward, rebellious, and stumbling into a computer revolution that had changed the world. The story kicks off with Bill as a little troublemaker. His parents, Bill Sr. and Mary, are pulling their hair out trying to tame him. He's small, squeaky-voiced, and socially weird. The Independent says he suspects he'd be on the autism spectrum today. School's a bore, grades tank, he mouths off, and his folks ship him to Lakeside, this elite private spot where everything flips. In 1968, Lakeside gets a teletype terminal, super rare back then, and Bill's hooked, coding like a fiend with pals Paul Allen and Ken Evans. They're the Lakeside programming group, teen geeks hustling software gigs, sneaking out to hack timeshare computers, and geeking out over sci-fi. Plot-wise, it's a coming-of-age tech tale. Bill's obsessed. NPR says he's addicted to that terminal, writing code that blows his teachers' minds. He loses Kent in a 1972 mountaineering accident, heartbreaking stuff, and bonds tighter with Paul. Harvard happens in 73, but he's restless. GeekWire calls it a brief stint, and by 75, he and Paul spot the Altair 8080 in popular electronics. It's their shot, they write BASIC for it, drop out, and kick off Microsoft in Albuquerque. The book ends in 79. Microsoft's moving to Seattle, still tiny, but the future's simmering. It's 336 pages hardcover, $30, or 512 in large print, $15.99 Kindle, $22.50 audio. No tech empire yet, just a kid with big dreams and bigger luck. But does it hit? Let's meet the man first. Let's talk Bill. He's the OG tech titan. Picture a Seattle dude, born to a lawyer dad and a powerhouse mom, growing up with two sisters, Christy and Libby, in a comfy Laurel Hess hood. He's 69 now, turned 70 in October 2025, and worth $107.8 billion, ranking him 13th richest globally. Co-founded Microsoft in 75 with Paul Allen, turned it into a trillion-dollar beast, then pivoted to save the world mode with the Gates Foundation, malaria nets, polio shots, climate tech via breakthrough energy and TerraPower. 3 kids with ex-wife Melinda, and a life that's been wild. Think antitrust battles, Epstein meetups, and a Trump dinner in 24. But source code is pre-billionaire Bill. He's a misfit. The Guardian calls him obnoxious, And YT says difficult, fighting his folks, bombing at sports. Therapy at 10 helps him chill, and Lakeside's where he finds his tribe, Paul, Kent, and that teletype. He's a coding prodigy. The Standard notes his hyper-focus, and a rebel sneaking out, tripping on LSD once. Harvard's a detour. He's there 73 to 75, but the Altair calls. This ain't his first book, The Road Ahead. How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, but it's his first memoir, part 1 of 3. Ex-fans adore his nerdy charm. He's the John McEnroe of tech, once a brat, now a sage. What's he aiming for here? Let's dig into the vibes. So, what's Bill cooking with this one? Source code ain't about flexing Microsoft's rise. It's a raw, reflective look at how a weird kid became the Bill Gates. At its core, it's about luck and hustle. Bill's all about that unearned privilege, born to a solid family at the perfect time, when computers went from room-sized monsters to something teens could hack. Bloomberg nails it. It's genius coming into focus, a mix of brains, freedom, and dumb luck. He's got supportive parents. Bill Sr. and Mary push him hard, but let him roam. Plus Lakeside's rare tech access in 68. NPR says he's lucky to hit the PC wave just right. The message? You don't need to be perfect to win big. You need the right shot and the guts to take it. Bill's a mess, abrasive, socially off. Losing can guts him, but he channels it into code. GeekWire loves his admissions of shortcomings, like mouthing off to a prof and being dead wrong. It's about finding your thing. Bill's is coding and riding the chaos. Themes of loss, rebellion, and vision hit hard. The Standard calls it touching. Ex-fans vibe with lines like, I could solve the world's mysteries with my brain. It's nerdy hope with grit. Let's unpack the ride. Okay, fam, let's dive into the meat. 336 pages of geeky nostalgia and gut punches. It starts in 55. Bill's born in Seattle to Bill Sr., a towering lawyer, and Mary, a community rock star who's all about giving back. He's a handful. The Telegraph says he's constantly misbehaving, silent for days, tanking grades at Laurel Hist Elementary. His folks are stumped. The Guardian notes they had no guideposts for his quirks. At 8, he's selling nuts for Cub Scouts, 179 pounds, competitive streak on blast. Gammy, his card-sharp grandma, teaches him to think smart. Lakeside in 68 is the game changer. Bloomberg calls it luck. A teletype terminal, crazy rare, hooks him. He's 13, coding with Paul Allen and Ken Evans, a trio of misfits dreaming big. NPR says he's addicted, sneaking out at midnight, hacking time-shared systems, even crashing one once. They start the Lakeside programming group, teen hustlers fixing bugs for cash. Kent's death in 72 mountain accident wrecks Bill. The Standard says it's genuinely moving. He sees Kent's mom sobbing and it shifts his world. Harvard's next, 73. He's 18, diving into math and econ but restless. Paul's in Boston, they're coding basic, and then the Altair 8080 drops in 75. It's their shot. NPR says they're writing the future, and Bill drops out at 20 to start Microsoft in Albuquerque with Paul. It's rough, borrowing $7,000 from an employee. But by 79, they're moving to Seattle, signing with Apple for Basic. The book ends there, no MS-DOS, no Empire, just a cliffhanger vibe. It's $30 hardcover, $32 large print, $15.99 Kindle, $22.50 audio, 13 hours narrated by Ray Porter. Does it compute? Let's weigh it. Here's what's fire. Bill's real. The Independent loves his humanity, like his Sweetie Poo nickname or crying over ordinary people. GeekWire calls it candid, LSD flops, pro-smackdowns. He owns it. Nostalgia's thick. The Telegraph says it's cider with rosy vibes, 60s Seattle painted vivid, Cub Scouts, roller coasters, Gammy's Ritz crackers. Bloomberg raves about genius coming into focus, teen Bill coding at 2 a.m., spotting the Altair spark. Goodreads digs the personable storytelling, Kent's loss hits hard, Paul's bond shines. Pacing zippy. The Standard says it's fast-paced, cliffhangers like Harvard's basic bust keep you hooked. NPR loves the reflective mood. Bill at 69 looking back, wiser, wryer. Tech heads geek out. The Telegraph praises the precocious feats, like emulating the 8080. Audio's a sleigh. Ray Porter's pleasant vibe makes it sing. For fans, it's a 5-5 peek into Bill's soul. San Francisco Chronicle calls it introspective, a nerd's origin story done right. But let's keep it 100, it's got bugs. Pacing drags, the Telegraph gripes about too many pages on hiking and Harvard juggling. It's tech heavy with PDP 1, 6,800 basic jargon. Goodreads call it uneventful, no Microsoft meet, just kid stuff. Depth's thin, The Guardian wants more on mentors like Bill Dowgle. NYT says it's wholesome, but skips the messy later years. Hype crash, Goodreads says it's boring for non-gate stands, missing the billionaire drama. Scope? Narrow. The Telegraph notes no Melinda, no Microsoft Rise, 2 more books tease it, but some want it condensed. Audible gripes say Ray's overly dramatic for a chill tale. Not a standalone. The Guardian warns newbies might snooze without context. Still, it's not a flop, just not peak Bill for everyone. Fun extras, what makes it pop? Pages, 336 hardcover, 512 large print, per Penguin Random House. Price, $30 hardcover, $32 large print, $15.99 Kindle, $22.50 audio. Weird bits, Bill's LSD trip, dentist disaster. Happy Boy Kid grin. Nods, Steve Jobs, Wozniak, Balmer cameos, future legends. Charity, proceeds to United Way, not Gates Foundation. So, source code worth it? If you're a Bill stan or tech history nerd, it's a banger, raw, funny, nostalgic, a geek's roots laid bare. Flaws? Sure. Slow bits, light on juice. But $30 for 336 pages of Bill's brain? Solid deal. Rich? Nah, not BTC rich, but a dope ride. Full scoops at Elna's link on YouTube. Links in my bio, fam. What's your vibe? Team Bill or pass? Hit me up, let's chat.